From stabbing hearts to poisoning principals, it's safe to say that there are many different kills in Wednesday. But who has the highest kill count, and just how many deaths are they responsible for? Well, in this video, we're going to reveal the top 5 highest kill counts in the show, and as the list goes on, you might be surprised who's at the very top. So let's get right into it. Number 5. At number 5, we have none other than the main character herself, Wednesday Addams. Now, as for her most recognizable kill, this one came in the finale of Season 1. Throughout this episode, Wednesday was able to uncover many mysteries. The biggest was that she learned that Tyler was the Hyde the entire time, as well as Miss Thornhill being his master. However, there was one thing she didn't know yet, and that was what Miss Thornhill's ultimate plan was. Her main goal this whole time was to revive her ancestor Joseph Crackstone, and let's just say she had all the resources to make that happen. After capturing Wednesday, Thornhill took her blood, and with that, Crackstone was finally brought back from the dead. However, as this all happened, Wednesday tried to attack the newly revived Crackstone, but unfortunately for her, Crackstone stabbed her right through her chest. From there, Crackstone and Thornhill left her to rot, thinking that she would be dead for good. But then the unexpected happened. As Wednesday's ancestor Goody Addams appeared, she sacrificed her soul to heal her injuries and restore her fully. As a result, Wednesday was rejuvenated, and it was now time for her to get her rematch. As she made her way back to Nevermore, it was there where she confronted Crackstone one more time. This time, the two fought in a duel, and although Wednesday held their own against him, Crackstone eventually knocked her down and defeated her once again. Pressing his staff against her chest, he was ready to end her once and for all, until she was then saved by Bianca. With Bianca's help, Wednesday was able to pick herself back up and stab Crackstone right through his black heart. With that, Crackstone's body disintegrated, giving Wednesday her most notable kill. However, what if I told you that wasn't her first kill? Well, if we rewind to the very first episode of the show, we see Wednesday start her new life at Nevermore. This was a big change, especially since she now had a roommate that was the complete opposite to her. Just shortly after Wednesday met Enid for the first time, Enid then gave her a tour around the school. However, as she did, it was there where Wednesday revealed something. As they walked, Enid asked her if the rumors were true, because she heard that she once killed a kid at her old school. In response, Wednesday corrected her and said that it was 2 kids, not 1. That right there proves that she had killed 2 other kids in her past, but we clearly have never seen it. At this point, the only time we did see her get close to killing somebody was earlier when she dropped piranhas into the pool at her old school. However, this didn't lead to anybody dying, and instead we learned that one of these kids just lost a testicle. So by Wednesday saying that she killed 2 other kids, that leads us to believe that it happened at a previous school she was also kicked out of. Now with both those, and the kill on Crackstone, that brings Wednesday's count to 3 total kills that are confirmed so far. Although that's a high amount considering she's only 16 years old, the next person on our list was a bit more ruthless with theirs. Tying in at number 5 with Wednesday, we have none other than Marilyn Thornhill. Not only was she Tyler's master, but she was also responsible for 3 crucial deaths in the show. As for her first kill, this was more of a mysterious one that left a lot of us with many questions. In the 4th episode, we were introduced to the Dr. Reggie Onmar, whose main job was to look after dead bodies and store them in freezers. However, the problem was, Reggie covered up a murder case 30 years ago which dealt with a man named Garrett Gates. The thing is though, Garrett Gates was actually Thornhill's brother, so she wanted revenge on Reggie for covering up her brother's case. As a result, she shot Reggie right through his head, but she made it seem like he committed suicide. To make it seem legit, she made sure to cover the security cameras and even wrote him a fake suicide note. From there, Reggie was gone for good, and with that, Thornhill avenged her brother's death. However, that wouldn't be the last person that Thornhill killed out of revenge. Not long after, she then targeted the mayor, Noble Walker. Just like Reggie, the mayor was also guilty for covering up her brother's death, so Thornhill had a plan. One late night, she hit the mayor with her blue car, hoping that he'd die. Unfortunately for her though, he survived that attack and as a result was placed into the hospital for immediate care. However, Thornhill was relentless, so she went to the hospital herself and unplugged the mayor's breathing apparatus, which caused him to die. With that, and her kill on the morgue doctor, she now has 2 total kills, but her next one was by far the most brutal. In the season 1 finale, all the mysteries were unraveled, and just like we spoke about earlier, Wednesday discovered the truth behind everything. She learned that Tyler was in fact the Hyde and that Thornhill was his master. However, just right before Wednesday's encounter with Crackstone and everything else that went down that night, something pretty insane happened. As Wednesday confronted Thornhill to expose her for her crimes, she brought along Principal Weems, who was disguised as Tyler himself. Because Principal Weems was a shapeshifter, she was able to appear as anybody she wanted, so this time around she disguised herself as Tyler. By doing so, Wednesday and her tricked Thornhill into confessing, but as Weems transformed back to her normal self, that's when Thornhill went to strike. Using her serum of poison, she then went in to attack Weems and stabbed her right through her throat. As a result, Weem's mouth began to foam, and within just seconds she died right then and there. With that kill and the 2 others to avenge her brother, that then brings Thornhill's count to 3 total kills. However, that number is nothing compared to what our next person has. Number 4. Isaac Knight. 30 years ago, Isaac Knight was once an evil genius, but unfortunately died after a failed experiment. With that, he was buried under the skull tree in the woods, and from that day on, nobody saw him for 3 decades. However, one day, Isaac was revived from the dead when Wednesday's brother Pugsley visited the tree. By mistake, his electrical power shocked the ground beneath him, and as a result, Isaac was reborn as a zombie. This time though, he had a goal. His goal was to transform himself back to his human form, and the only way to do that was to eat other humans' brains. With every brain he ate, he'd only become stronger, so he did just that. Throughout his brain-eating killing spree, these were the following victims: driver instructor Gabe Packard, cadet master Ron Kruger, random security guard number 2, Dr. Rachel Fairburn, Augustus Stonehurst, random guy here, Judy Stonehurst, Professor Orloff, and finally, random veterinarian. With this killing spree, Isaac was able to go from a mindless zombie to finally being rejuvenated into his human form. Leaving absolutely 0 survivors, all these kills combined bring Isaac to a grand total of 10 human kills. However, although he had arguably one of the deadliest runs in the entire show, it wasn't enough. After he tried to extend his kill count by going after Pugsley, he unfortunately failed and was turned on by his own hand, Thing. By Thing ripping out his mechanical heart, Isaac was finally defeated and his historic kill count came to an end. However, that wouldn't be the case for the next person on our list. Number 3. Tyler Galpin. Unlike Isaac, whose focus was to get stronger, Tyler's kill count comes from a mix of both pure desire and direct orders from his master. As we saw, Tyler was able to transform into a beast called the Hide, and with that, he was truly unstoppable. With sharp claws, large teeth, and reaching a height of over 9 feet tall, he showed no remorse to anybody on his killing spree. Now, within just the first episode of the show, it was revealed that he killed 5 different people. Hiker Ethan Hansen, who was just going for a walk in the woods, 3 more human victims that happened off screen, and finally, one of the most gruesome kills of the entire show, Rowan's death. However, Tyler's murder spree was far from over. As time passed, he was responsible for many more deaths. We saw him kill this squatter who was hiding in the woods. We saw him kill his own therapist, Dr. Kinbot. Then finally, we saw him be responsible for killing these 4 cops at the end of the season. With that brings Tyler's count to 11 kills. But he didn't stop there. His next kill would be the one that would change his life forever. As we saw in Season 2, Tyler was locked away in chains inside the Willow Hill Hospital. However, that would quickly change. One night, an outbreak went loose in the hospital, led by both Wednesday and Uncle Fester. As that happened, Thornhill herself went to go rescue Tyler, but this was a huge mistake. As Thornhill released Tyler from his chains, he looked at her and started blaming her for everything. He blamed her for this life and also said that she was the reason why he was locked in this prison for so long. Then he did the unthinkable. Out of nowhere, Tyler transformed into his Hide form, and by the end, he eventually chased Thornhill down and stabbed her with his large claws. With that, Thornhill was officially dead, giving Tyler his 12th total kill. Unfortunately though, him killing his master was a huge mistake. Because he did this, he started to go insane, mainly because Hides need a master in order to survive. So, not long after this, he went on the run, and it eventually led him to sitting in agonizing pain inside a sewer. However, then the unexpected happened. As Tyler was in the sewers, a man named Jesse Quinn entered. Quinn was sent by the woman Judy Stonehurst to search for a missing patient, but let's just say sending him out was a huge mistake. As Quinn entered the sewers, he was then attacked by Tyler, who rose from the water and mauled him to bits. With that killing blow, that now brings Tyler to a grand total of 13 kills throughout the series. However, this wasn't as much as the next person on our list. Number 2. Chet LaTroy, or better known as the Kansas City Scalper. From what we saw, Chet was known to be one of America's deadliest serial killers, as he racked up his kills across a span of 20 years. However, Wednesday herself has been obsessed with this killer ever since she was a little girl, so she set out to hunt him down. Now, if we look closely at Wednesday's old presentation board here, you'll see multiple different women that Chet killed. Adding them all together, there's a grand total of 11 victims here that he's murdered. But that's not all. If we then jump to a separate news article about him, you'll also see that he's killed a few more with some different names. So, by adding all these names between both sources, his kill count comes to a total of 14 people. However, his horrifying streak would eventually come to an end when Wednesday herself confronted him. With the help of Thing, they were able to end his violent acts once and for all, and it's safe to say, the Scalper got scalped. So with that, our list looks like the following. In 5th, we have both Wednesday Addams and Miss Thornhill with 3 kills each. In 4th, we have Isaac Knight with 10 kills. In 3rd, we have Tyler with 13 kills. And in 2nd, we have the Kansas City Scalper with 14. However, this next person on our list is the deadliest of them all. This person has a kill count that's higher than every number we've spoken about so far, combined. Number 1. Joseph Crackstone. Unlike the others on this list, Crackstone has a kill count that's far higher than anything we've seen in this show. Dating all the way back to the 1600s, Crackstone was a pilgrim who was known for getting rid of all outcasts. Although we saw Wednesday kill him once he was revived, his past life was darker than you could imagine. Years ago, he led a movement that was focused on murdering outcasts and getting rid of them once and for all. In Crackstone's eyes, outcasts were witches that were associated with the devil, so by killing them, he was convinced that the world would be a better place. Because of this mindset though, he did something horrifying. Along with his other pilgrims, he locked approximately 50 outcasts inside a barn and chained them down to the ground. From there, he then set the barn on fire, which ended up burning each and every outcast inside until their death. With that act alone, that brings his kill count to a total of 50 just from that. However, that's not all he did. Although it's not confirmed, it's rumored that he killed thousands, possibly even millions of more outcasts spread throughout the world. At one point, it was stated that he nearly wiped out all the outcasts from the face of the earth, so that alone hints that his kill count could in fact be in the millions. If that's true, that would make his barn fire look like child's play compared to everything else he's done. But like I just mentioned, that's just speculation for now. So at our number 1 spot, we'll give Crackstone a confirmed 50 kills, with potentially millions more. But I want to know from you, out of all these different kills we've spoken about, which do you think was the most brutal? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.